Welcome to Education Forum. I'm Herman Badillo, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the City University. The improvement of education affects all New Yorkers. This program will focus on the key educational issues and challenges before us all. My guest today is Dr. Bryon McClenney, who is the new president of Kingsborough Community College in Brooklyn, a part of the City University. Dr. McClenney was born in Texas and got his bachelor's degree, his master's degree, and his doctorate in education from the University of Texas at Austin. And he has more experience as president of a community college than any person I know in America. He started in Eastfield College in Dallas in 1971, went on to Parkersburg Community College in West Virginia, Alamo Community College, and most recently, from 1986 to this July, he was president of the Community College at Denver. I'm glad that you have all this experience, because when I became chairman of the Board of Trustees last year, I established, for the first time, a committee on community colleges in the Board of Trustees, because I wanted to give more attention to community colleges. And I was delighted when you came to join us because of your long experience at community colleges. What I'm concerned about is the low rate of graduation from Kingsborough and other community colleges. What has been your experience in the past with that?
Well, my experience has been that community colleges need to work on that all across the country, and progress can be made. But in making progress, we also have to realize that many students in pursuit of lifelong education do not necessarily come for a degree or to transfer to a four-year college. So it always has to have that qualifier, I think. But there's no question but that community colleges can do far better than they are doing all across this country in helping students get the associate degree and prepare for transfer to the four-year institution.
But we should find out what the objectives are.
Absolutely.
Because the problem is that the mayor is particularly, Mayor Giuliani is particularly incensed about the fact that in a two-year period, the number of people who graduate from a community college is minimal. And I've been told by other people that the rate of our community colleges is about the same as that of Alabama. And to me, as a New Yorker, that's not acceptable. We have to do much better than that. So what I would like to see, and I know my fellow trustees feel the same way, is to identify the students at the beginning, to find out what their objectives are, and then to encourage them to stay and get a diploma.
Oh, no question about the importance of that, and I assure you that at Kingsborough we're going to be working very hard on that agenda. I've always worked hard at tracking students, finding out what they need as they walk in the front door, staying with them to find out how we retain them, to find out whether they graduate, to find out whether they transfer, to find out if they're just stopping out and then coming back. So tracking student progress, I think, is very, very important.
Now, before we get into other details, tell us something about Kingsborough Community College. How many students are there, and what kind of courses do you have, and how much is the tuition?
Kingsborough is this fall enrolling about 15,200 students in the credit offerings of the college. We also have one of the larger components of continuing education in CUNY. And during the course of this year, if this year is like last year, we'll serve over 14,000 students in continuing education. So it's a very diverse set of programs that Kingsborough has in place. Very comprehensive, everything a student would need to finish the Associate in Arts or Associate in Science degree to transfer to any four-year college and pursue the baccalaureate. There are a number of career programs such as nursing, graphic design, or a couple that would illustrate what I mean when I say career programs. A very strong emphasis on student support for all the things that students need in order to succeed on a college campus. So support services are pervasive at Kingsborough.
Okay, let's watch a short video on Kingsborough Community College.
Don't be unprepared for tomorrow. It's here sooner than you think. Jumpstart your future with an associate degree from Kingsborough Community College. It's an incredible environment, giving you fresh air and a fresh start to each new day. And with one of the lowest tuitions in New York City, it's affordable. There's even a unique 12-week, 6-week academic calendar that helps stretch your dollars by providing a way to accelerate your goal toward earning an associate degree. Kingsborough focuses on the individual. That's you. Plenty of sincere counseling. Small, hands-on classes offered days, evenings, and weekends. Teachers who teach. Teachers who are experts in their fields. Don't miss out on this opportunity for a fresh future. Just ask some of our graduates.
The thought of being a chief of social work services in the largest mental health agency in the country never would have occurred to me, and surely without Kingsborough, it would not have been possible.
Hi, I'm Bob Pertzis, and I'm the head baseball coach at Kingsborough Community College. I was able to become a good student. I was able to do my work here and move on to Brooklyn College, where I earned my bachelor's degree, and I was fortunate enough to move on for my master's degree. Not only is this place a great place to get an education, but it really happens to be a real fun environment.
I'm a late bloomer when it came to education. My parents came from Italy, and they didn't really appreciate or know the value of a college education, so I went out to the business world for 25 years. It was then that I realized how important a college degree was. I found the school to be a magnificent place to get an education. I love the school. I'm its most ardent fan. Would I recommend Kingsborough Community College? I send my 2 children here.
I'm Terry Harnick. I graduated from Kingsborough Community College with a degree in nursing. So if you're thinking about a career in nursing, Kingsborough Community College is certainly the place to start.
Hi, my name's Tina Tolliver. I'm a graduate here at Kingsborough. I graduated about 5 years ago in the broadcasting department, and it gave me a lot of skills, a lot of the basic skills that you need to succeed in, a broadcasting career. Worked myself up, and now I'm an account manager with WKTU. I make some pretty good money. So this is a great place to go if you're looking to, start off a career and get the basic skills that you need. Kingsborough worked for me.
Kingsborough is here, ready to give you the tools to a brighter tomorrow. Call 718-COLLEGE or www.kbcc.cuny.edu. You owe it to yourself to take advantage of what we can do for you. Then success will follow.
I don't know what your experience was at the community colleges where you were president, but the problem that we have in New York City is that approximately 87% of the students who come to community colleges require some degree of remedial education because they are not really ready for college work and because they really don't have a real high school diploma. What is your view about remediation?
I wish we didn't have to do it, but in a community college we must, and I've always experienced that. I first developed a program to respond to that need back in 1968, so I've been at it all those years. And I believe it can be done and done well and prepare students for movement into coursework beyond remedial education. And in fact, in Denver, after a period of years of working on this, students who enrolled in developmental education there were more likely to graduate and more likely to transfer than students who did not enroll in remediation in the first place.
Well, if you take the average student who has 87%, one of the 87%, who has a substantial degree of remediation, how long do you think it should take for remediation before he can proceed for college work?
In the worst case, I think it's about a year. I think when it gets beyond that, we run into all sorts of difficulties, financial aid being one of them, because so many students who need remediation are there because of poverty. And they need to depend on the financial aid programs in order to be able to succeed. And if we keep them in remediation longer than that, they run into problems with financial aid. So I work hard everywhere I've ever been to ensure that it doesn't go beyond a year. And if it can be sooner, then that's better. So it takes a whole set of methodologies to do that. There's not a single approach that helps every student move quickly. But I don't like to see students tarry in remedial programs. They need to get through that and move on.
Well, one of the things we've done since I became chairman is that for the first time in over 30 years, we now have an exit test for remediation so that we can measure whether the student has completed the remediation and say that he can proceed and go ahead.
Well, I've always been a believer in being clear about what students should know and be able to do at different levels in education. And so for me, being clear about the skills that a student has when they finish the remedial sequence, and then the test certainly will measure that, assures everyone that they're ready for college level study. Similarly, at other levels, I care about being sure that we're clear about what students should know and be able to do as they finish a certain level of programming.
On a general basis, what percentage of the students in the community college, would you say, generally tend to go and transfer from a community college to a senior college?
In my experience over all the years that I've been involved, it ends up being around 25 to 30% who will finish a community college education and move on and pursue the baccalaureate degree. The other large segment are finishing career programs and go to work. When you track them over a period of time, however, you'll find that many students who are in career programs re-enter years later, maybe 5 years later, maybe 7 years later, and also pursue further study. And I think in our society today, what we're going to see is a pattern of re-entry as students realize that learning doesn't end when they finish a degree. So they're going to have to continue to be learners in order to succeed in their chosen professions. But overall, 25% has been about what I've found across the country.
What is the most popular career program at Kingsborough Community College?
I think without any question it would be information technology, computer science-related programming. Behind that would be programs like graphic design and nursing. Those would be the bigger ones that we have.
Okay, we'll be back after these announcements.
I'm Javed Mashkuri. I joined the Peace Corps because it gave me an opportunity to do something worthwhile in a place that was much different than the place that I grew up and knew. When I got to Mali, it blew me away. My job was to train local masons and well diggers to construct safe drinking water wells. The Peace Corps showed me what happens when you don't have access to health care. We were providing clean water, which to everyone there is health. And we try to do the same thing here by just providing health care. Compassion, perspective, a sense of adventure. Each and every day, those three things help me get through the day and make me a better doc. It's given me more self-confidence in dealing with patients and other people, and also helps me through the most difficult times because I've already been through a lot of those. I'd recommend the Peace Corps to anyone that was thinking about any job. It'll help them excel and be better at whatever they do. I think in Peace Corps you learn the value of service. You're going to want to be in a position to give service back.
Peace Corps volunteers, changing the world, changing America.
We're back today with Dr. Bryon McClenney, the new president of Kingsborough Community College. One of the problems that we have found is that it takes too long to bring about remediation, and Kingsborough Community College, under the previous president, was a pioneer in developing a program that we call College Now, where we begin to work with the students in the high schools, that is the professors at the college, in order to ensure that when they graduate, they have a real high school diploma. How is that program working out now?
Oh, I'm very pleased with what I find in the College Now effort. Kingsborough will be in 24 high schools this fall.
In Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn. In addition to that, we have a tutoring program, after-school tutoring program that is in 9 high schools. So we are heavily invested in our work with the K-12 school systems in our area. And my impressions are that they're well received by the high school people. Students are gaining skills through that effort, so I'm just delighted to see that effort in place.
And the program that we worked out with Chancellor Levy is that we now begin to work with the students in the 9th grade, because up to last year, we only began to work with the students in the 11th and 12th grade, and I felt that was too late because the highest dropout rate among especially the black and Latino students is in the 9th and 10th grade. And I would say to you that this is where you should concentrate, because if we can get those students over the hump of the 9th and 10th grade and stay in high school, we would be making an enormous contribution to the future of New York City.
No, anything we can do to in the situation where students coming out of high school need any kind of remediation at all, we ought to do. And anything we can do to help young people realize what the opportunities are for them, all of the career paths that might be possible for them, the better off we'll be. And the more we can collaborate between high school faculty and college faculty in order to serve those students, the better off we're going to be. So I'm a total booster. I've been working on these kind of programs for years, and I'm just really pleased to find what's here, and I'll work hard to build on that.
Of course, we have another problem, which is at the other end of the spectrum, and that is that we're too successful. We have found in the past that the students who did the best job of getting a good high school diploma don't come to the city university. They go to other universities. What I like to do is not only help them graduate from high school, but have them stay at the city university.
Well, that is very much worth reinforcing. And what I will say as I talk with high school audiences and with anybody else who will listen is that what we have to offer is not second class, not second rate. It's as good as anything you'll find. And I will say with certainty that students who finish at Kingsborough Community College are ready to go study in anybody's university anywhere in this country, and they will be able to succeed in those settings wherever they may go. So we have excellent offerings, and we need to sell those as first-class opportunities for people who live in our area.
Well, that's very important to me because I found when I began to talk about the importance of community colleges that there were many in the faculty who took the attitude that a community college is not important, and it doesn't really matter whether the student graduates or doesn't graduate or how long it takes to graduate. I find that kind of attitude reprehensible.
Well, I think that at every level, and I'm happy to hear you saying what you're saying, we need to have high expectations at all levels. And I have high expectations for myself and for the people at Kingsborough. And as I was in a student retreat a few weeks ago with the student leadership of Kingsborough, I talked this way with them about how important it is for them to have high expectations for themselves. They need to realize what's at stake, and they need to realize that we're there to help them move quickly toward their objectives. So high expectations, to me, is the theme.
One of the areas where you are very successful at Kingsborough is in the training of students who come from Soviet Russia, or from the one of the states in the old Russia. Many of them are Soviet Jews, and they come to live in Brighton Beach and Brooklyn, and then they go to Kingsborough Community College. And the problem that they have is that they don't speak the language, but they come from a very good background in Russia. Tell us something about that.
Well, I'm again pleased to find a very strong English as a second language effort at Kingsborough with a lot of cultural sensitivity to the kind of people you're talking about. And again, I'll work to reinforce that. People who are well educated in their native language can move so quickly if they get the right kind of ESL program. And I feel like we have that at Kingsborough, and I'm pleased to find that.
And about how long does it take for the average person who comes into community college without speaking the language to be ready to move on into other courses?
There's so much variability because of the people who come, but on the average, again, I would say a year or so is about what I find if you have the right methodology in place. Too often we put people in lockstep programs, and people can move faster sometimes than the lockstep programs that we put them in. So I'm a great advocate of self-pacing, enabling people to move at their own pace and move as quickly as they can. And I'll be trying to emphasize that as I begin to work with the faculty at Kingsborough.
Now, you've had broad experience at community colleges in different parts of the country, and I'm interested to find out, how do the other community colleges that you're being president of differ from Kingsborough, and in what ways are the problems similar?
In terms of the makeup of the student population, we're very similar to the one where I've just served 14 years.
That's in Denver.
In Denver, in the urban center in Denver. Probably the biggest difference I find is that we don't have as many associate degree programs, AAS, Associate in Applied Science degree programs that prepare people for job entry after the community college experience.
You mean you don't have as many here?
Don't have as many here as I've always had in other places. So that's probably the one major difference that I see.
Well, why should that be?
I don't know that it should be. It just is. And I think it's based in the liberal arts tradition that people have had within CUNY. And I think that we've got a task ahead of us here in CUNY to create more career programs in the community colleges for those students who need them.
So I would agree. Give me an example of some of the degrees that you would like to have at Kingsborough.
Well, as I've looked at Brooklyn, just to get really specific there, I find that the major employers in Brooklyn are health care providers.
Right.
So Kingsborough would be a natural for health programs, allied health programs across the spectrum, preparing people to go to work in all the hospitals and all the clinics and all the health care providing settings there in Brooklyn. And right now we have only the nursing program and one or two other smaller efforts that we have in place. So that's an area that is wide open, I think. The whole realm of computer information systems, the whole realm of graphic design and all of what's happening with the internet and design for the internet, again, are program areas that I think can explode if we help nurture them a bit.
Well, I agree with you because you probably don't know, but at one point I was president of the Bronx, and I set up in the Bronx Ostos Community College, which was to specialize in health careers. That was in 1968, because I figured out that in the year 2000, health careers would be important. And Ostos Community College also takes care of many students who don't speak the language, and it's a bilingual community college. Get a large percentage of students from the Dominican Republic. But my view has always been that problems of the Bronx and Brooklyn are the same, so we should have exactly the same thing in Brooklyn.
I think we're going to have a bit of a struggle across CUNY to develop the programs that we need because of this liberal arts experience that we've had, but they're not necessarily in competition with each other. We need both, and so the development of career programs, I think, is going to be a challenge for us.
Well, especially at the community colleges,
right,
because liberal arts is fine if you're going to get a 4-year degree, but I think we saw in the video that many of the students who go to the community colleges are students who need to work right away, and therefore they need something in a practical way. So I always feel that if you go to a community college, you should have an idea of a specific career that you want so that you can get a job right away. I had to work my way through college myself, so I understand the problem. And I think the population that you have is changing very rapidly in Brooklyn. Isn't that so? You're getting a new population, especially not just from Russia, but from the Caribbean as well.
A major influx is occurring. It's going on as we speak, and that brings a whole new set of issues. And when you're talking about poor people who are new to the country, even certificate programs become important for them, something less than 2-year programs as a building block, a way to take that first step. And so I would hope that as we think about program development, that we'll think about the building block approach. It says a 1-year effort can be a certificate, a 2-year effort can be the associate in applied science degree, and then for those who have the ability after that and the interest after that to transfer, there's that avenue, but the job is also there at each of those steps.
Well, one of the problems in the city has been that neither the Board of Education nor the City Planning Commission has really planned ahead and estimated what the changes in the population were going to be. Mayor Giuliani talks about New York City continuing to be more and more a city of immigrants and a new immigrant population, but I don't think that anyone has really developed the statistics, and I think we can't wait for the City Planning Commission or the Board of Education. I think we have to begin to make those calculations ourselves.
Well, we're going to have them for Brooklyn. We're going to do a major needs assessment of Brooklyn over the next 3 months. And we'll be able to talk intelligently about the needs of people who live in Brooklyn.
Well, keep in mind that I speak from experience in the Hispanic community, that the Census Bureau doesn't really tell us who is living in New York City, because there's a very large percentage of people who are undocumented immigrants and who do not report that they are there, but believe me, they're there. And there are many people who live 2 or 3 families in an apartment, and therefore you don't really know the population just by the census count. You have to go out into the streets and make your own estimates.
I've actually been driving through the neighborhoods of Brooklyn, and I'll be meeting with social service agency heads and community-based organization heads to talk about the very thing you're talking about there. We're going to find out what the people who live out there really need in a community college.
Good, because that will be a very decisive thing of what the future of Kingsborough is going to be. And the final point is you probably have the most beautiful campus, not just of a community college, but of any of the colleges in the city of New York.
It is a wonderful place. I've never seen a prettier setting for community college education than we have at Kingsborough.
Okay, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
You can reach us by email at our website, www.cuny.tv, or write to us at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016.